I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we journey into the transformative wisdom of a remarkable book. It is called You Are the One by John and Grace. This enlightening book guides readers from duality to oneness, revealing our infinite divine master self. Join us as we explore how awakening to our true reality leads to profound inner peace and divine love. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Bridge Literary Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below the interview. Grace, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Great to be here. I think great to be here.
Explain to the folks at home what you mean by moving from duality to oneness.
That's a really good question, Logan. We all come into this world as pure, infinite, divine extensions of a divine creator source. But we come in through this, we're animating through this human equipment. And this human equipment has conditioning, it has all kinds of things that kind of help we separate or forget the truth of what we truly are as extensions of this pure divine love. And we work through it in the physical as we confront different obstacles and work through things within ourselves. And we're all the same with that. We all have things to work out. We're all moving in that direction of a more deeper connection to the truth of what we are.
Absolutely. What inspired you to write You Are the One and share your insights on enlightenment?
That's another great question. I actually started writing a book when I was in high school. And I started channeling when I was talking to the universe when I was a child. I'd come home. I spent my childhood in the woods. I still spend my life in the woods. I love
It's a great
nature.
place to spend your life. It's a beautiful
I
place.
love it. I'm up in the mountains every day and
Nice.
always barefoot in my backyard and in the garden.
Mm.
I would come home and I remember my mom asking, what did you do? And I was just say, I was talking to God.
Mm.
And truly, we didn't have words, but was communicating through nature. I would see, like, I would just have these profound experiences, and there was no other way for me to explain it except that I was talking to God. It was the transcendental, or this everything sparkly, and it's hard to put into words, but I started having these profound experiences when I was young. And so I journaled. When I moved from Massachusetts to Salt Lake City, I had about 10 giant boxes full of diaries. I had to throw them all out. But the one that I started, I had a skeleton, and it was basically, moving from a separation to oneness. And when I was writing it as a child, just at junior high, high school, it was really, the intention was to help adults be happy. And in the end, it has helped me be happy. I think I wrote it to help myself be happy and hopefully help others to be happier in life.
Absolutely. Tell us how your book helps readers distinguish between time-bound consciousness and timelessness.
Yeah, time-bound consciousness and timelessness are actually, they're both, we are choosing to have a time-bound experience. We're always existing in timelessness at all times. There's that, we can always access that space of timelessness within us. And basically, when we are present, we're connected to timelessness. When we start going into the past or the future in a disempowering way, that's when we start getting trapped in our mind and we start suffering a little bit. And whenever we go into any kind of suffering, we're out of that present moment peace. And the book helps you to, it contrasts, it's kind of a long book, but it was years of work, but it really contrasts to help you see, and it helps me. It has helped me to see, like, when notice, oh, I'm in a disempowering state. oh, I'm in conflict. And you go, oh, okay, I'm not in peace. I'm not present. I'm not connected and aligned with my true self. And so it gives you a lot of clarity of the different kind of dysfunctional ways we all operate. And I, you know, still operate in that those spaces and get tempted and get, you know, upset or whatever. And then but I've gotten more and more masterful through writing the book and reading the book and through life and practicing, to notice, oh, I'm out of peace. And it helps you to, gives you the opposite of the timelessness or the peace or the oneness of how you can bring yourself back when you're in that state of confusion into clarity.
Wonderful. Tell us the role grace plays in the journey towards enlightenment, according to your teachings.
Grace is a human woman. My books are I majority of, I would say, I don't know the percentage, but mostly channeled. But everything that is channeled has to come through a human person. And we all have our belief systems. We all have our domestication, our conditioning. And there's no way that it can come through me and not have some of me in there as well. But I'm going to tell you that the principles I have not mastered, and they're not coming from a place of I've mastered these and I, you know, I have them. I never go into conflict. That would be a lie for me to
Right.
say. I is my spiritual journey has been very unique to me. I was not raised in any particular religion. I'm very grateful for that. I've dabbled in several and tried out several different spiritual paths and religions. I'm more of a non-dualist. Nature is my church. I believe that the divine presence immerses everything and everyone, and there really is nothing outside of that divine presence. We can close our consciousness to it. We can shut down and cover the light, but the light is always shining inside of us. So I felt I was somewhat blessed not to have any sort of religious or spiritual conditioning, but I had a strong spiritual impulse ever since I was young. Like I say, I was very young, 5, 6 years old, and I was in the woods experiencing and having these communications, these nonverbal communications with God pretty much daily. As I grew older, I remember I rode my bike. I was, learned to ride a bike, and I'm saying very young, I was riding my bike to the used bookstore, and I went straight to the back wall, which is a metaphysical wall. And I would just pick up books that was just, the master of the universe, the way that, and I would gobble them up and read them and take little bits and pieces. And I think that helped to form my spirituality in some sense. I read my children, when I raised my children, I read angel books and miracle stories and all kinds of, inspirational stories. So I have always had a strong knowing that we are far more than just this physical body, that we are eternal beings. I had a grandmother who was an atheist, and I remember having 5 or 6 years old, having conversations and saying, if the body's gone, we still are here. Annie, we still exist. You take off my hand, I'm still whole and complete. And I don't know, the wisdom, we all have that wisdom when we're very young. I think sometimes it gets conditioned out of us. It's always there.
Yeah.
So for me, and then I've always had a connection to spirit. I've been able to sit down. I've been a journaler, write in my journals as a child, and the information just flows. And then when my son passed, immediately I heard his voice, and we've been communicating every day ever since.
Wonderful. That's a beautiful connection to have. And he has helped you write these books, right? This book, rather.
I give him all the credit. But I have to be honest, and I struggled with it, Logan. I struggled with, is it Grace? And I feel like Grace is my middle name. I go by Grace. And I changed my phone, a lot of people call me Grace. Some people call me by my first name still, and that's fine. I'm not attached. but I'll never be the same person after losing a child. You will
Yeah.
never be the same. It is a shattering, a devastation of the consciousness. It is something that doesn't ever go away. There's, it's
Mm.
waves. There's times I miss him tremendously and I break down and sob, and 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 then there's times I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life. Uh, but I truly believe what comes through, the information that comes through me is his voice, is his information. It's from a higher self. I feel like we're very much one on the higher plane, and I feel like we're one here. I feel like he's in me and he lives in me. And we since he's passed, it's been 6 years now, and just talking to him every day, I am forwarding his global movement for peace. He's brilliant young man. He passed at 25. Had his master's degree and a master in finance, a minor in math and philosophy on the International Golden Key Honor Society. He was president of Young Americans for Liberty, recognized in Washington, D.C. for his global movement for peace. And he was far more brilliant than I ever was, academically, of course, and in many ways. But it's a merging of our energies. So when I write, I'm connecting to him, I'm connecting to a much higher intelligence than myself. But it is coming through me and and I use a lot of my personal experiences in my books, because I have a lot of things a lot of mistakes I've made, learning experiences I've provided myself that can maybe help other people, and hopefully they don't have to go through the same. They can just learn it.
Absolutely. I think this book is going to be a great help to a lot of people to get in touch with themselves, to get in touch with nature and their spirit. The name of the book is You Are the One. It is written by John and Grace. It is an enlightening book that guides readers from duality to oneness, revealing our infinite divine master's self. It is wonderful to read. You'll find it enlightening and you'll find it invigorating. Grace, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan, for having me, and thank you, listeners, for your time.
I appreciate your time. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.